Hey everyone, what's going on? I've kind of been holding off on making a video because I've had a whole bunch of synchronicities going on, and I was kind of waiting for to see when they all kind of come together. That's usually what happens, and then I make a big long video. But I don't know the full meaning of a whole lot of these synchronicities that have been going on. There's a definite pattern, and some of them are intertwined, but I don't see the full narrative with why they are important to each other. And I just figured I'd go ahead and make a video because some of these things are pretty interesting, like William Shatner going to space. And, I made a ton of videos talking about the date October 6th and how it's important to volcano symbolism and synced up to Queen Elizabeth and the death of Prince Philip and a whole bunch of stuff. And if you go back to April 15th, just after Prince Philip died, and I was talking about all this volcano symbolism, I even mentioned William Shatner in here. I thought William Shatner was important, right? I wonder about William Shatner because when Prince, just before Prince Philip died, back on December 4th, we got a story about Queen Elizabeth's dog named Vulcan that had died, right? And Vulcan is the god of volcanoes, right? And then we had Prince Philip, he died all synced up to volcanoes. We had the story of Houston Tumlin, the kid in Talladega Nights die, and at Talladega, if you win the Vulcan trophy and a whole bunch of stuff with volcano symbolism. I made a ton of videos on it. I don't want to re-explain it, but I knew there was something important to Vulcan and Leonard Nimoy, who plays Spock on Star Trek, and I had some synchronicity back then with the song called Common People that William Shatner remakes. So I was wondering if there was something important to William Shatner. And like I said, I followed the date October 6th a whole lot in connection to all of this. And there wasn't a volcano eruption, and there wasn't any big story with Queen Elizabeth that day. She didn't die or anything, but we did get a story, and it was one of the headline stories about this woman who got burns while trying to save her dog at Yellowstone. And of course, Yellowstone, has the volcano, right? Yellowstone volcano. Clear back in December, I even mentioned how William Shatner might be important to that because Leonard Nimoy was synced up to Queen Elizabeth's dog. And I talked about how it was probably synced up to Field of Dreams. I didn't even realize that there was a Field of Dreams game that was supposed to be played this year. And, William Shatner's character is Captain Kirk. If you look up Captain Kirk, he was actually born in Riverside, Iowa. And, think about Field of Dreams in Iowa. And Field of Dreams is synced up to Kevin Costner. And Kevin Costner is also in this TV show called Yellowstone. So there's something important to that narrative, right? And I mean, there's a whole lot more that goes with this too. The Field of Dreams game is just absolutely synced up to what's going on in baseball. You got the Dodgers playing the Giants, and Trevor Bauer, right? Trevor Bauer, the baseball player who had the sexual harassment stuff. That sexual harassment thing came on 6/29, which if you look up Moonlight Graham, the guy from Field of Dreams and whatnot, the guy who only played one game and so on, and Kevin Costner's character takes Terrence Mann to the baseball game, and then it flashes Moonlight Graham 1922. And 1922 was the New York Giants versus the other New York team, I think the Yankees, in the World Series, the same city World Series. And Field of Dreams came out on Queen Elizabeth's birthday in 1989, and the 1989 World Series was the Athletics versus the San Francisco Giants, the same city, World Series. There was also an earthquake at that World Series. But even that game that he goes to, it's the Athletics versus the Red Sox. So there's a bunch of narratives that are going along with this that I've explained before. But Trevor Bauer, this thing going again, the sexual allegations. If you look up Moonlight Graham, the only game that Moonlight Graham played in history was on 6/29. and he was a New York Giant, right? And he also died on Sean Connery's birthday, which I'll bring this up in a little bit here because it's important to Christopher Columbus. Look at Christopher Columbus here. His birthday is, he was born between August 25th and Halloween. And Sean Connery, the James Bond, right? He died, his birthday was August 25th and he died on October 31st, right? And of course, Christopher Columbus, if you go from May 20th, the day he died, to Halloween, it's 164 days. And Star Trek equals 164, and William Shatner equals 164, and James Bond equals 164, and I'm pretty sure Sean Connery equals 164, and Daniel Craig equals 164, and a whole lot more, And that's why they changed this date of William Shatner going to space. It was supposed to be on October 12th, which is the day in history that Christopher Columbus supposedly discovered America, but they changed it to October 13th because it's 160 days before uh, William Shatner's birthday, and James Bond also equals 160, and Royal Family equals 160, and the Royal Family has a whole lot of ties to the Jesuits and Christopher Columbus and the Catholic Church. And if you go back to like King Henry VIII, his name in gematria equals 160. Just pointed out here. King Henry VIII, 160. He married Catherine of Aragon, that equals 160. And just Catherine equals 160. Catherine of Aragon is the one he wanted to get a divorce from, and the Pope wouldn't let him. So then, he created the Church of England and so on, right? But she was the daughter of Isabella I of Castile, that equals 160. And this is the lady who financed Christopher Columbus's journey to America, right? So there's this relationship with Christopher Columbus and the royal family and the Catholic Church, and royal family's 160, Meghan Markle's 160, and the Francis Bacon ciphers. But let me just pull it up here really quick. Well, Gematrinator. I just want to show you that James Bond also equals 160. James Bond, 160. And of course, the big number with the Jesuits, is 201. And Christopher Columbus, if he was born on Halloween, that means he died 201 days after his birthday. And if the James Bond film that just came out on October 8th, that's 201 days after William Shatner's birthday. And of course, in the Francis Bacon ciphers, Jeff Bezos equals 201. And remember, Jeff Bezos went to space on the 201st day of the year, which was the 52nd anniversary of the moon landing. And the word Apollo equals 201, and Neil Aldrin Armstrong equals 201, the first guy to walk on the moon. And then Neil Armstrong died just after the Batman shooting that was synced up to the James Bond film, but he died in 2012 on Sean Connery's birthday, and then Sean Connery goes on to die in 2020 on the another Apollo 11 astronaut Michael Collins' birthday, which is Halloween. And even more interesting is if you look up think about Halloween and Michael Myers, right? Michael Myers is the bad guy, right? The killer in the Halloween films. Well, his mask, if you look up that mask, it was actually created out of a William Shatner Captain Kirk mask, right? So there's a connection to Halloween here with Sean Connery dying and with how all of this is synced up. And think about Michael Myers and Mike Myers from the Austin Powers movie. And then you have Jeff Bezos, who looks like Dr. Evil, and he has the rocket that looks like the penis, and Richard Branson, who went to space just before Jeff Bezos. And Richard Branson's old pictures look just like Austin Powers, and so on. Been talking about this narrative far before it was even going on. And it was the 52nd anniversary of the moon landing, and Sean Connery also equals 52, and James Bond also equals 52, right? And Daniel Craig, well, equals 56, but I wanted to point out equaled the 164. It is interesting he equals 266 because Apollo equals 266 as well. And the and Jewish gematria, I'm pretty sure. No, I can't remember anymore. Hold on. Apollo 11, maybe? Yeah, Apollo 11 equals 266. And William Shatner also equals 266. And he just went to space a span of 266 days before the anniversary of Amazon, right? Think about Amazon, Jeff Bezos. This number is also important to Pope Francis, right? He's the 266th Pope. And in 2015, he came to the White House on the 266th day of the year when Pope Francis is the first supposed Jesuit Pope, and his real name equals 201. And he stays in room 201 at the Vatican. It's called the Domus Sancti Marte that equals 201. And the founder of the Jesuits equals 201. And, some people even believe that he's actually named after Francis Xavier, who equals 201, one of the other founders of the Jesuits. And it's all interrelated somehow to how the royal family synced up to the Catholic Church and the Jesuits, and that's also linked up to the moon landing, and James Bond linked up to the moon landing. Christopher Columbus synced up to the Catholic Church. That's why they originally were going to do it on Christopher Columbus Day, the day that Christopher Columbus supposedly discovered America. But then they waited one more day to make it sync up to James Bond even more so, right? James Bond 160, 164. And Star Trek equals 164. Like I said, William Shatner equals 164. I think Blue Origin also equals 164. Blue Origin 164. Once again, Daniel Craig 164. Sean Connery 164. James Bond 164. And also, Christopher Columbus, if he was born on Halloween, he died that means he died 164 days before his next birthday. Anyway, let me go back to this story, or these stories on October 6th that were important to Queen Elizabeth. And, so we get the story about Yellowstone that to me could be related to Field of Dreams and Kevin Costner. And, let's look at the gematria of this too. You got like Field of Dreams. Notice how it equals 169 in the Francis Bacon ciphers, and notice how Kevin Costner equals 169, right? And the whole thing is about Chicago that equals 169, and Chicago White Sox equal 169. So it's like these Francis Bacon ciphers, they are definitely an extra layer to understand, what is going on. Something I just recently discovered, was that Skull and Bones equals 254 in the Francis Bacon ciphers. Also 201, right? Remember how Tim Russert equals 322 in the Francis Bacon ciphers? And he died on the day leaving 201 days in the year, the guy who called out John Kerry and George Bush, supposedly, right? But really, that's all just part of the narrative. They wanted to get the truth community behind this without knowing the gematria and so on. But, Batman synced up to this as well. But Skull and Bones, the moral of the story, Skull and Bones equals 254, and 9/11 just so happens to be the 254th day of the year, And if you go 254 days after George Bush's birthday, his birthday's on 7/6, right? George Bush, the Skull and Bones member. 254 days after his birthday is the 76th day of the year, 3/17. And, if you read out, what is that? I think Twin Towers. Maybe, I can't even remember. Oh, September 11th. September 11th equals 317, right? Also 911. 911 equals 317. Also 160. Interesting. But, if you read out the World Trade Center, notice how it equals 322, right? 322. And it's also 218, like Osama bin Laden, like Twin Towers, and we talked a lot about this date, August 6th. August 6th is the day that World Trade Center construction began in 1968. And Skull and Bones also equals 68 with the S and K exception. And 9/11 was 68 days after George Bush's birthday, and AT&T was made the emergency dialing code 6 months and 8 days before 9/11. Made 911 the emergency dialing code, and John Kerry was the 68th something. If you go to his page, it'll say it right on the top, 68th something. But if you write out August 6th, that also equals that 254 number. But never forget, right? Something they programmed us with. Never forget also equals 322. And I guess the reason I'm bringing this up is because I keep seeing all this stuff with Skull and Bones as well. Like William Shatner's birthday is 322. And Captain Kirk, his birthday on the show is 322. And remember in that Batman film, right? The Dark Knight Rises, it was all about the number 86. And Aurora, Colorado supposedly got shot up. And John Kerry is actually from Aurora, Colorado. Just pointing this out. But just before the football stadium blows up, they flash the number 322. Right? So you know it's important to Skull and Bones. And this is very interesting because if you look up the 2012 World Series, 2012 World Series just happened to be won by the San Francisco Giants. And San Francisco also equals 254, like Skull and Bones. Also, 76, 202, and much, much more. But if you look up this World Series, they just happened to beat the Tigers of all the teams, right? And I've been saying how next year is really, really important to the Chinese Tiger Year and how it syncs up to August 6th in San Francisco and a whole bunch of stuff. So, Tisha B'Av. So, it's very interesting. After the Batman shooting, the San Francisco Giants went on to beat the Detroit Tigers in the World Series. And if you look up the San Francisco Giants, they were originally called the New York City Gothams. Right? Think about that. Gothams and Batman and Gotham City. And they're the team who goes on and wins the World Series after the Batman shooting. And then we also have John Gruden, right? John Gruden with his racist emails or whatever. So now he's resigning a span of 56 days after his birthday. And it's the upcoming Super Bowl 56. But the day that he resigned just so happened to be the same day the Baltimore Ravens were playing on TV, right? Whatever it was, Monday Night Football, right? So they're playing on the Monday Night Football game. And the Ravens just so happened to be the team who won the Super Bowl after the Batman shooting, right? And then the kicker in that film the kicker's name was Ravenstall, and then the stadium collapsed, and, then there was a blackout at that Super Bowl, and it's all synced up to this new Batman movie, that's coming out. I've talked about this before, but you look at the Raiders thing, right? They're the Pirates. Think about Pirates and Skull and Bones, right? And oddly enough, the guy who replaced John Gruden, if I could find it here, as the coach, is this guy. And his birthday is June 3rd. If you go from the Super Bowl 213 to June 3rd, it's a span of 3 months and 22 days, right? A Skull and Bones number. So, there's something interesting. 6-3 is also interesting because that's a number I've talked about with the Jesuits since 2017 a whole lot. My uncle died in the mysterious crash at the age of 63, and the Jesuit priest in my town years ago, he died in the Jesuit University of Creighton in the bathtub 6 months and 3 days after the Jesuit anniversary at the age of 63. The priest who we've always joked that molested me, and then he actually got kicked out of the church after 35 years, and the word Catholic equals 35, and so on. He got kicked out of the church at the age of 63 in the original story about who came out on June 30th, a lot like a 6-3. And then other priests that I remember as a kid, like Father Paul equals 63, and or his name equals 63, and Friendly Father Fred FFF 666, right? He died on the 63rd day of the year. So it's been this thing that I've noticed with priests, 63 and whatever. So it's just interesting, And of course, the Jesuits and Skull and Bones have these interesting relationship with 201, and it's interesting. It says they played their first game on September 11th too, right? the Raiders, Pirates, Tampa Bay, synced up to the pirate theme, right? John Gruden, the Pirate Bowl, 2002, 22, Tiger King, all about 22. Next year will be the year 22. It'll be the year of the tiger, Chinese year of the tiger. Raiders, I think the Raiders even have that connection too. Like Las Vegas equals 86, this big data I keep talking about, but Las Vegas Raiders equals 160 as well. And 317, so interesting. 76th day of the year. They're 61 years old right now. I don't even remember if I looked all this stuff up. John Gruden, 160 as well. I mean, you just can't even make this stuff up. You know, think about pirates and thinking about Christopher Columbus as well. Just, I don't know, it's just interesting. I know this didn't happen and might not be connected, but Christopher Columbus equals 268, and he died 268 days after Sean Connery's birthday, which possibly might have been the day that Christopher Columbus died too, right? Let's just see if I can, I'll put it in here real quick. Christopher Columbus, 268. So, need to think more on that, but whatever. We'll come back here again. Yellowstone. And so there was a story about a volcano and a lady and her dog, right? And think about how the whole stuff with Queen Elizabeth started with the volcano symbolism because her dog named Vulcan died, and Vulcan is the god of volcanoes, right? So that's interesting right there. And I went down even further on October 6th, and I was looking at the stories, and there was actually a story about Elizabeth the First and how she had this obsidian spirit mirror that came from the Aztecs. And when you read the article, it talks about how Queen Elizabeth the First had this magic mirror or spirit mirror that was made from volcanic glass. So a mirror, like what are the odds there's a story about Elizabeth the First on this day? And it's about her having this mirror that's made of volcanoes, right? It's like, okay. So they're just playing with me here or something. And I was just kind of looking at some of these other stories, and there was a story about Atlanta Braves player's necklace whips internet into a frenzy. And the story was about what I don't know what this guy's name is. Maybe I put it in here. Jock Peterson of the Atlanta Braves, right? Once again, think about the Braves, right? I know this wasn't on Christopher Columbus Day either, but just think about it. Like the Braves and the Native Americans and Christopher Columbus and so on, right? But apparently he wears pearl necklaces when he plays, right? And everyone's thinks it's ridiculous or makes fun of him or whatever, but a pearl necklace. And I was like, man, that reminds me a lot of Queen Elizabeth because in tons of pictures of Queen Elizabeth, she's wearing a necklace made of pearls, right? Tons of pictures. I always see her wearing pearls. So I was like, huh, how interesting, right? So then I was looking more into this article on CNN about the Braves player wearing the pearl necklace, and they talk about how he wore the pearl necklace at the Mets game, and that's what the story was. It was like about how he wore this pearl necklace at the Mets game, and the game that they were talking about, the Mets lost 5-6, right? 56, Royal Family 56, and Society of Jesus equals 56, and a whole lot more. But the New York Mets are interesting because they're the team that plays in Queens. They play in Queens, New York, and that's why it was important in 2015 that they lost to the Kansas City Royals in the World Series, and it was all synced up to Queen Elizabeth and Pope Francis's visit to the United States, which, by the way, I know I've showed this before, but look at Society of Jesus equals 239 in the Francis Bacon ciphers. Pope Francis came to America in the 239th year of the United States, and the Jesuits were founded in Paris, France. That equals 239. That's the 52nd prime number, right? And the word Pope equals 52. Pope equals 52. 52 days after Pope Francis arrived in America on the September 22nd is the day that he arrived, and then he went to the White House on 23/9 in the 239th year of the United States. But September 22nd is the anniversary of the French Republic, and 52 days later we had the Paris, France ISIS attack, right? And ISIS just so happens to equal 52, just like Pope and so on. And think about a 52 card playing deck, right, with the royal family on it, and the Francis Bacon ciphers that use 52 different letters because they use the capital letters and lowercase letters, right? A and so on, right? All the way up to 52. Even Illuminati. Illuminati has ties to the French Revolution and so on. Illuminati equals 239, so. Also, Scottish Rite Freemasonry was founded in Bordeaux, France. So France is very, very important. In France, this year, it's their 229th anniversary of the French Republic on 22/9, 229, right? And that day just happens to be 2 months and 29 days before the French president's birthday. And that French president's birthday is, I think it's a span of 229 days before August 6th this year. So, of 2022, the year of the tiger. And, France equals 229. So, once again, just want to point out how important these ciphers are to really pay attention to. But so anyway, the Mets lost 5-6 to the Braves, right? And Jock Peterson equals 56 and 52, and the word pearl equals 52, and pearl necklace equals 52, and Elizabeth I also equals 52, right? And 56, just like royal family, just like Jock Peterson, 5-6. And I was like, man, that's pretty crazy that these stories actually have this weird connection, and I'm thinking it's connected to Queen Elizabeth. And the more and more I look into it, I'm like, oh, look, Jock Peterson, born on the same day as Queen Elizabeth, 4/21 of all days, right? He's born on 4/21, Queen Elizabeth's birthday. And the story was about the game that was played on October 2nd against the Mets that was 201 days before his birthday and Queen Elizabeth's birthday. And in relation to Skull and Bones, April 21st just so happens to be the day that leaves 254 days in the year, right? Like how Skull and Bones equals 254, it's the mirror day of 9/11, which is, that's what I've always called it, was the mirror day, right? The reflection, the mirror days, because April 21st is the 111th day of the year that leaves 254 days, and 9/11 is the 254th day that leaves 111 days in the year, right? So it's interesting that there's a story about this spirit mirror with Elizabeth I, and then we got this story about Jock Peterson, and his birthday's the same day as Queen Elizabeth. It's synced up to 9/11. 9/11 has that relationship to Skull and Bones that also equal 201. But further in the article, so the article goes on, and then it also says, you know who else likes pearls? The singer Prince, and it has a song of Prince singing his song, I don't know what the song's called, Diamonds and Pearls, and it shows Prince. Well, recall, Prince died on Queen Elizabeth's birthday in 2016, right? And in 2016, that when Prince died, it sparked this humongous narrative that I was following with a Native American theme. And that's why I thought the Indians would play the Cubs in the World Series pretty much all summer long, because Prince's Yellow Cloud guitar sold to Jim Irsay of the Indianapolis Colts, and Mike Pence shared a birthday with Prince, and Mike Pence is from Indianapolis, the land of the Indian. And then we kept getting them stories about Kevin Costner and Chief David Bald Eagle of Dances with Wolves had died. And then I kept saying how it synced up to Field of Dreams. And then we got the death of W.P. Kinsella, the guy who wrote the book Shoeless Joe, the inspiration for Field of Dreams. And then right when the World Series began, we got the death of James Earl Jones's wife, and so on. So it's interesting it was connected to Field of Dreams that year, connected to the Native American theme. So, I don't know. The Braves and Boston are also interesting because the last time that Cleveland Indians won a World Series was in 1948. And the reason that they made the World Series was because they upset the Boston Braves, and they ruined all Boston World Series, a same city World Series, right? Because if they would have lost, it would have been the Boston Braves versus the Boston Red Sox in the World Series. And that was also the same year, I'm pretty sure, that Babe Ruth died. Let me look it up really quick. I think Babe Ruth died in that year, 1948, right? And Babe Ruth was the guy who the Boston Red Sox were cursed by, the curse of the Bambino. And remember how they lost to the Mets in the 1986 World Series, right? The 1986 World Series, and curse of the Bambino equals 86, and they broke that curse after 86 years. And Terry Francona was the coach, and Terry Francona is now the coach of the Cleveland Indians. So, I mean, there's a humongous relationship. And Babe Ruth also, interesting, his birthday was February 6th, was the day that Queen Elizabeth became the queen in history. But just going back here, Prince, pearls, whatever. I'm going, what are the odds of that? Prince also equals 129, and that's a big volcano number. And New York Mets equal 129. Pearl necklace 106. That happened to me on 10/6. I noticed this. Aztec equals 106. Elizabeth II 106, which is part of the reason why I was following that date with her. Also, just before 10/6, we had the racer Bubba Wallace, or whatever his name is, right? Let me find it here. Bubba Wallace, the black guy who wins Talladega, right? Just before, I said I was watching this whole week because of this, right? So Talladega was just before 10/6. Then we had the James Bond film that was coming out. Then we had like Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s birthday and a whole lot of stuff. But what are the odds Bubba Wallace wins it, right? He's the guy who drives for Michael Jordan's racing team. And I don't know how many times I talked about how Michael Jordan is also important to that narrative with 10/6 because that's the day that he originally announced his retirement as a Chicago Bull and so on, right? And it's synced up to Philadelphia because the country Jordan, the original capital, was called Philadelphia, and then it was destroyed by earthquakes in the year 106 AD, right? Think about Jordan and Philadelphia. Michael Jordan's final game was against the Philadelphia 76ers and a whole lot more, but Bubba Wallace is he's 28 years old when he wins this. Volcano 28. It's the first black driver to win since 1963. Of course, racism equals 63, and Michael Jordan was born in 63, and Talladega equals 63. Or he's going to be 28, I guess. I wrote that, but he turned 28 years old the same day the James Bond film came out, right? And Volcano 28, so. Plus, 10/6 the year before was, or June 10th, Prince Philip's birthday was the day they banned the Confederate flag in the NASCAR, right? 610 or 10/6, right? Of course, NASCAR also equals 106. That was Prince Philip's birthday. The word Confederate equals 201. Remember earlier that year of 2020, we also had Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson said the N word, right? And then what happens after Talladega? Kyle Larson goes on to win the next race. I mean, Bubba Wallace wins. And then Kyle Larson, the guy who says the N word, wins the next week. I mean, what a joke, And his full name, Kyle Miata Larson, equals 201. So, I mean, just can't make it up. Bobby also pointed out here George Floyd and Moonlight Graham, both from Fayetteville, North Carolina, and both died in Minnesota. And that is true. If you look up Moonlight Graham, he died in Chisholm, Minnesota, and he was from Fayetteville, North Carolina. And George Floyd was also born in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and died in Minnesota. And I can't remember, I know I looked it up. If you look up Fayetteville, North Carolina, and look at the people that are from here, one of the chief of police, one of the guys that was born here was the chief of police in Ferguson, Missouri. And he just retired. So, let's see if I can find it here. People. Notable people. It was right at the top. Hold on. We'll find it here. It's right here. You just can't click on it. Jason Armstrong, Ferguson Police Department. And if you look him up, he just retired like this year. Or I think it was this year. Just like so I'm pretty sure he was the chief of police when the George Floyd stuff was going on. And he's also from this place, right? Actually, I don't think I ever looked up what this place was. We'll look it up really quick. I don't think I looked up that guy's name either, Jason Armstrong. Oh, it's interesting. With police and stuff. It was just Fayetteville, or however you say that. I might even be saying it wrong. It's got some interesting things, coronavirus, and so a lot to do with the Jacob Blake stuff was 208. Queen Elizabeth II. Was it Jason Armstrong? Well, 87. I don't know. Some interesting things. I don't know how they really connect to this, but Ferguson is 42, right? I'll have to look at that more. I don't know. I don't see anything that stands out right away to what I am talking about in this video, but it is interesting. And the Field of Dreams game was also 75 days before the World Series begins this year. And New York Giants equals, not New York, San Francisco. Jeez. San Francisco Giants equals 75. It is the 117th World Series, though. It's very, and Field of Dreams equals 117. And Trevor Bauer was born on January 17th. And Dodgers equals 117. So, said right now they're both on 109 wins, right? And, the Dodgers just won 7-2 as well. And the last time they won the game, they won 9-2. And Giants equal 92. But, they said they both have 109 wins. They do both have 109 wins going into tomorrow's game. And Los Angeles equals 109. So, it's interesting, isn't it? I think that the Giants, I think it's for the Giants because it's synced up to Field of Dreams and so on. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not here making picks. I've been following the Giants since the Field of Dreams game, and I just feel like they're foreshadowing like that same city thing, and it just seems like they're showing the Giants for whatever reason because of Field of Dreams. But the Dodgers are also important to that narrative, and the Red Sox are too, and so are the Braves because of that Native American theme with Field of Dreams and so on. So I mean, I'm telling you, no matter who wins, it doesn't even matter. It's related to Field of Dreams. Like they synced it all up to Field of Dreams. So James Earl Jones's birthday is even January 17th, right? But Los Angeles is 109. Los Angeles went 2-3. That's why the Super Bowl's in Los Angeles on 2-1-3. That's how Los Angeles is 216 as well. And they got like Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony 216. The Phoenix Suns were just in the whatever. The NBA Finals 216. LeBron James. Well, it's Miami Heat even. Miami Heat 216, right? Los Angeles 216. LeBron James used to play for the Cavaliers in the 216 area code. LeBron James all synced up to the royal family and a Cavalier as a follower of King Charles during the English Civil War. That's why, like, American royal equals 216. And, Meghan Markle's born on the 216th day of the year and a whole lot more. It's all synced up to LeBron James and that royal family symbolism. So, but I'm pretty sure Carmelo Anthony even signed with the Lakers like 216 days after LeBron's birthday or something. And their birthdays are 216 days apart or something like that. It's just like, if you see the Francis Bacon ciphers, it makes so much more sense. Like how the word divorce equals 151 and What? I can't remember what famous guy got divorced. Was it Jeff Bezos or one of them? No, Bill Gates. Bill Gates just got divorced on August 2nd, the day leaving 151 days in the year, and can't remember. Is Microsoft equal 151? Yeah, Microsoft is 151. So once again, it's this extra layer that I've been saying forever. I don't know, it just adds so much. Anyway, so there was this pearl stuff, right? It's like, interesting. It's all synced up to pearls. I mean, I don't know. It's just some weird thing with pearls, and I don't know if it's the next day. Let me look at my posts here, but let's go here. So, oh yeah, so the very next day after making that blog post, I went to work and there's this older lady that I deliver to. Like she calls every now and I go up and deliver. She actually just lives like a couple houses down from me. I don't really know her that well, but she doesn't have a car, so it's like taco day or something. I'll drive up and get her like her 5 bingo tickets or whatever, and I don't even know. She usually gets like a taco, 2 cookies, 5 bingos, and like a diet coke or something. But I'm always the one that goes and delivers it for whatever reason. I don't know. And it is funny because she's like, I knew she was like fairly old, and all the ladies at work think she was like a lot younger than I thought she was. And when I take forever, they always joke that I'm like doing her or whatever, and so on. But because it's like going to your grandma's house, right? You go there and like, it's not that you don't want to talk to her, but like they're lonely and they don't want you to leave, so they just keep talking. And then you wait for like a moment of silence so you can be like, well, I better go back to work. See you later, like, and then you leave. But I mean, I enjoy talking to this lady, but at the same time, I have to go back to work and whatever. But anyway, her total was, what was it? 1879. And she said, wow, that's a good year. And I said, yeah, it was just before James Garfield got assassinated. And she was like, how do you know that? And I go, well, I'm pretty sure he got assassinated at a train station in 1881 and whatever, because I don't even know. I just know. Obviously, from this knowledge, I know a lot of stuff like that. And I went on to tell her, like, I was like, yeah, Grover Cleveland, he was the only president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms. And I told her that's why Joe Biden is the 45th person to be the president, but also the 46th president. And so on. And she was just like, you need to go on Jeopardy, blah, 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 or something. And anyway, it spawned this whole thing. And she ended up going on to tell me how she said she was born the same day as Pearl Harbor, but then she said her birthday was 12/7/42. And I was like, oh, that doesn't make sense. But I think she just misspoke because I don't know, she's getting old. And but she said that she's like has a fear of water. She's scared of drowning, and she always has a fear of water. And she said she thinks it's because she was born the exact same day as Pearl Harbor. And like she said, like the Pearl Harbor attack happened, and then like she was born like 2 hours later or something. And then she's like, I don't know. I feel like that's always the reason. Like maybe I was part of that attack or something, and whatever. And I was like, I'm really into stuff like this. It's like that's very interesting to think about, and whatever. And we started talking, and I told her about how on 9/11 buildings 1, 2, and 7 fell, and I said, isn't it interesting how Pearl Harbor's on 12/7? And some other things. And I didn't really go into gematria, but I was just trying to like, you know, feel the waters, like test around and see what I could say to her. And it didn't feel right to go into gematria with her, but she like had this painting of like 9/11 that she did. It was really good painting that she showed me and stuff. But moral of the story is that, we've been wondering how old this lady was forever. And I went back and I was like, you know what? She was born on the same day as Pearl Harbor. That's what she told me. I was like, she's way older than you guys think she is. I was like, she's like 78 years old. And they all thought she was like maybe like 68. And It's just interesting that it was Pearl Harbor, though, right? The very next day, I blog about pearls, and then this weird synchronicity comes up with Pearl Harbor. And I figured I'd look up this lady, and her birthday was 300. This happened 304 days after her birthday, Pearl Harbor Day, and her name equals 304 in gematria. And then I started blogging about this at work, and it got busy and I couldn't do it. So when I got time to look at my phone again, it just so happened to be 304, right? So this happens 304 days after her birthday. Her name equals 304. And then the next time I look at my phone, it's 304. And interesting, Halloween is the 304th day of the year, too. So just pointing that out. I don't know what that means for sure, but it's interesting with William Shatner and how all of this is kind of related to James Bond and Batman and so on, right? And in regards to Queen Elizabeth, it makes me wonder because Halloween equals 95, and Queen Elizabeth is currently 95 years old. Actually, we'll look this up really quick. I wonder how many days away it is to her birthday. 421. It's 172 days. Interesting. 610, right? Something I've talked about with her a whole lot. And Prince Philip's birthday, 610, so 10, 6, 610. The 44th prime number is 193, so, that's pretty interesting. 1031. Trying to see how far away is it from that. 4 months and 21 days after Prince Philip. Oh, yeah, that makes sense, obviously, because it's the reflection. Actually, 4-9. We'll see how far away it was from Prince Philip's death. 205. I don't know. I mean, I think of some things with 205, like Philadelphia and Israel and Chicago Cubs equals 206, so I don't know. Sorry, like I said, I'm trying to figure out like how this is all how it all intertwines, but Pearl Harbor too, think about Hawaii and volcanoes and I've been talking about this volcano symbolism and I even mentioned in a post a couple weeks back how I thought we were going to get something to do with train wrecks and then or something to do with a volcano and whatever and then we got a volcano eruption in Hawaii and we also got like two different stories about Amtrak's an Amtrak shooting and an Amtrak that derailed in Joplin, Montana. So I pointed out Pearl equals 196 in English Extended and the lady's house that I went to, her name equals 196 in Francis Bacon as well. So English Extended has just been, it was really important to Sean Connery's death. And it seems like one of them ciphers that like, it really is like it leads me into understanding synchronicity. So that's why I wrote that in there. I don't normally use it, but it seems like whenever there's like a big synchronicity, this is like something to pay attention to, right? And anyway, so Pearl 196 though, and the lady I went to, her name's 196, and as I was blogging about this, my coworker named Zach, who I've had synchronicity with a whole bunch too, and like literally, I told him all about this knowledge and whatever, and I told him about the N word and 42 and so on, and he went outside and got this card that he got from some Black Pride thing and during Black History Month, and he won some like debit card or gift card or something, and he checked the balance and it was had $42.42 on it, and he was just like, "That is fucking weird," and I was like, "Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying. You have to pay attention to what's going on around you and this knowledge and so on." And his mom's also was an extra in the movie Children of the Corn. I've talked about him before, but moral of the story is that he was listening to the song I Will Survive, and he told me I should learn the lyrics and sing with him or whatever. And I was like, that's such a weird song for like a 17-year-old kid to be listening to at work, and what was funny is the night before, we had a band gig coming up, and we have a different drummer, and he doesn't know a lot of our set list, but he knows some of these other songs. So I had to learn them, like the CeeLo song "Fuck You" and the song "I Will Survive." And I was like, what are the odds? Last night I learned "I Will Survive" on the bass, and now you're singing the song, telling me I need to learn this song. I'm like, that's just a weird song for you to be listening to anyway, you know. And earlier in the day, I was singing "We Are Family," and I think it was because of that song. And another coworker was like, "Why are you singing that song?" And I was like, "I don't know. It's maybe because I had a DJ at wedding that last weekend too, and then like I just learned "I Will Survive," and I think it was just some reason that song was in my brain, right? I don't fully get it, but Gloria Gaynor does the "I Will Survive" song, and her name equals 194. And the kid at work, his name equals 194. And Sister Sledge, who does "We Are Family," equals 194. And, this was synced up to that Rose theme and whatever else. And that was a lot to do with the number 194. So just want to point it out. I found out that his name equaled 194 that day of that 42 synchronicity. Because I didn't know what his middle name was, and I asked him that day, and so on. But, what are the odds his name equals that? The same as the lady who wrote "I Will Survive." And then Sister Sledge equals 194. And I also pointed out that "We Are Family" equals 196, like up here, right? Like Pearl, and like the lady I delivered to. And the Sledge sisters, or Sister Sledge, they they also, when Pope Francis was in Philadelphia in 2015, they also went and performed for him or whatever, right? So it's just interesting that that would even be in my head or whatever, and I don't know. Just I documented about that, right? And Pearl and how. Then we've been talking a lot about. I had synchronicity too with the Squid Game thing. That hopefully it's too much to even bring up into this, but it's a lot to do with the number 456. And so I had a band gig on last Friday, and I was in Omaha all night. I got back, and in the morning I got up and I had to go to Des Moines to DJ a wedding. And I don't even know how to explain it, but the whole thing got kind of. I don't know what happened. I was supposed to stay in the hotel, and then I went to the hotel, but they didn't have a room for me or something, so they got me a different hotel. And then I was just like, you know what? It's early enough. I'm just gonna drive home. It's like a 2 hour drive, and no big deal. Like I wasn't like that drunk or anything, and I was just like, I'm gonna listen to the new Dave Chappelle special on my way home. And I was listening to it, listened to the whole thing, and I also listened to one of Zenith's videos. Can't remember which one, but I listened to one of Zenith of the Alpha's videos, and about life and death, right? And the number 456. The word death is 218 and life equals 456, and that's a big thing in the Squid Game. Is the final two people are 456 and number 218. And think about "I Will Survive" with that, right? I will survive life and death. But at the very end of the Dave Chappelle special, they play the song "I Will Survive," right? So I was like, there's got to be something to this. And I still don't fully get it, but I don't know. I don't get it. But it's just interesting that like I randomly listened to this on the way home, and then the song "I Will Survive" is playing. And then we played it at my band gig the night before, and I just learned it like the day before that. So, I mean, it wasn't much to learn, but the CeeLo one, though, man, tell you what, the whole song's simple until it gets to the little bridge part, and then you got to do like the boom, doom, 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 doom. Like, I don't know why that took me forever to figure out, but whatever. But I noticed that Gloria Gaynor in the trigonal cipher, so these ciphers that I've been shown to pay attention to as well through synchronicities and whatnot, she equals 1,193, which is the 196 prime number. And in regards to "We Are Family," I didn't write it in there the night before, but The number 196 reminds me of my brother because his name equals 196, and he also has the JJ initials, and there's more to that as well. You know, with Jeopardy James and the guy from Slipknot dying, and Slipknot was important to that Rose theme with Zach at work and so on. But my brother's name equals that. Think about We Are Family 196. And right around the time that my grandma died, it was all about 196. We had the death of Ralphie May in Las Vegas. My grandma was synced up to the Flintstones, like my Uncle Barney. She was actually from Flintstone, Georgia, that's 196. Her maiden name's 196. Knight of Columbus is 196. Hmm. But a lot of my grandma, the stuff around the time of my grandma was with Ralphie May, who Ralphie May is the guy that I even talked about how I thought he might possibly die, and then he died within that next year. And it was all synced up to the exact video that I made about fat comedians and so on. And then we got the death of Kevin Meaney right after, I made that video about fat comedians and so on in connection to the Cubs. But in regards to fat comedians, I'm just wondering, I've been talking a lot about the Gabriel stuff with the dream theme, if you've been following what I've been talking about. And I know it's so much to remember, but think about the fat comedian Gabriel Iglesias, right? He was born on the 196th day of the year in a non leap year. And one of his big catch things is that I'm not fat, I'm fluffy, that equals 196. So, and oddly enough, my grandma's name too equals 196 in the Francis Bacon ciphers. Just whatever, her Ellie Murphy, her married name. But she also equals 304. Just like how Sandy Culver equaled 304. And, she told me about being born on Pearl Harbor Day, 304 days after her birthday. And just think about how I seriously I always compare it to going to my grandma's house, right? And then, my grandma has the same gematria as that lady and so on. It's interesting. So then I can't remember what day. I'm getting my days all mixed up here. But when I was at that wedding, when I was loading my speakers back up into my van, it kind of went downhill and it had rained a little bit and it was dark. And I was carrying my two main speakers, and there must have been a really slick, muddy spot, and I slipped and I fell and I landed on this big wooden beam. And literally, I have a picture of it doesn't even do it justice. The bruise is the biggest bruise I've ever had in my entire life, on my leg and my butt. And it's insane. I don't even know how to describe it. It is a humongous bruise though. I've just never had a bruise this size. It's probably the size of a volleyball. It's that big. And that happened, and the next day I went to my mom's house with my kids, and I was showing my mom that bruise because I was like, man, this thing freaking hurts. And she went on to tell me that my brother actually fell out of a semi and recently and tore his MCL, his ACL, and something else, some bursa sac, or I don't know what it is, something that made his leg all infected and stuff. So I was just I sent him a picture of my butt and I told him I tore my butt or something. And I can't even remember it all, but it's just interesting that I would even be thinking about my brother, and then my mom tells me that he fell out of a semi and tore his knee and all that. And Pearl Harbor and World War, right? And I was in Des Moines, Iowa, and Des Moines, Iowa has Merle Hay Road and the Merle Hay Mall, and Merle Hay is believed to be the first guy to die in World War One. And the first guy to die in World War Two was also to be also believed to be a guy from Iowa, right? So, and I was in Des Moines, so I don't know. There's something to that. Pearl Harbor, World War. Remember when the Cubs won the World Series? I used to live in Des Moines for 3 months, and the Cubs won the World Series. I thought the Cubs were going to win against the Indians, so on, right? And the same day as Game 7 of the World Series on 11/2, can't even do it here, of the 112th World Series, we got a shooting in Des Moines, Iowa, where two cops died. And it was literally like just right down the street from where I used to live. And I used to work at Burger King, and Burger King equaled 112. And right across the street was the 1908 Drought House, or Drought Bar, I believe it was, from where I worked. 1908, and the Cubs hadn't won a World Series since 1908. Think about the Iowa Cubs and what happened in that World Series. It started raining and it ended the drought, and then the Cubs went on to win the World Series, right? First time in 108 years, and they won like 10-8, and everything was about 108, right? But they also won 1 month and 12 days after Back to the Future Day. 1 month and 12 days after Back to the Future Day. And my name also equals 112. So I always thought that was really interesting. That's where I discovered some of this stuff, but losing my train of thought here. But there's just so many things to talk about. Pearl symbol. I'll just go back up here. Oh yeah, I talked about pirate stuff, and then the next day we had John Gruden resign and so on. The pirate stuff, right? Because I was looking at this 456 in Squid Game, and 456 days after 9/11 is John Kerry's birthday, Skull and Bones member, guy who ran against George Bush, the next race. And 456 days before is George Bush's father, his birthday, June 12th, which was also the same day in history that Donald Trump met Kim Jong Un, right? Think about how Squid Game takes place in South Korea. Let's look at William Shatner here. Actually, let me go back. I want to find my original post about William Shatner. William Shatner going to space. Yeah, I talked about Will Ferrell being very important to all these themes, but they announced this 186 days after William Shatner's birthday. And this is a big number I've talked about with the space theme and James Bond and Jeff Bezos and SpaceX, like Jeff Bezos 186, Apollo 11 186, SpaceX 186, Elon Reeve Musk 186. He was born on the day leaving 186 days in the year. Let's go back to these ones. William Shatner going to space on 10/12. Originally, it was going to be 92 days before January 12th, Jeff Bezos' birthday, which is interesting because Amazon equals 92. And, there are all kinds of stuff with 92. And, like, Jeff Bezos' wife her birthday's like, or his ex wife, her birthday is like 9 months and 2 days before or after the anniversary of Amazon, and they announced the divorce like 9 months and 2 days after the anniversary of Amazon, or before, one or the other. I can't remember it all. It's all about 92, like tons of 92 stuff. And Amazon equal 92. Also pointed out that it was 266 days before the anniversary of Amazon, right? On the 186th day of the year, right? Think about how Jeff Bezos equals 186 in the Francis Bacon ciphers. Founded Amazon on the 186th day of the year. But now, he still went a span of 266 days, but all these connections to what I talked about earlier. Of course, I had synchronicity on, looked at my phone, it said 1012. He was also going to go to space 2 months and 22 days after Jeff Bezos went to space, and Blue Origin equals 222, and Star Trek equals 222. Then it got changed to 223, right? Think about Skull and Bones, right? 223, the reflection of 322. Think about William Shatner and Rescue 911 as well. So then they delayed it to 1013. Because of weather, too. Weather with a lowercase w is 160. James Bond, 160. He went 160 days before his birthday. It's also a span of 206 days after his birthday. Star Trek equals 206. And 6 months and 22 days, and Amazon equals 622. There's also, it made it 91 days before Jeff Bezos' birthday. Space 91, Rockets 91, Apollo 91. The Soviet Union dissolved in the year 91, thus ending the space race, right? Asteroid equals 91. Space also equals 44, right? And it was he ended up going on a date numerology of 44. Forgot that. Super Bowl LVI equals 304, huh? So we got that story about Queen Elizabeth having to use a walking stick, too, on the same day that he was supposed to go. And, it was 191 days before her birthday, and Elizabeth II equals 191. Like, Society of Jesus equals 191. Like, Henry VIII equals 191. All kinds of connections, He ended up going to space 187 days after Prince Philip died, then, right? Just pointing it out really quick. So he goes to space 187 days after Prince Philip died. And, of course, Prince Philip equals 187. 187. So does Prince Harry. Prince Harry equals 187. Interesting. I keep seeing that 268 number. And Prince Harry equals 322. Huh. I have to keep an eye on some stories with Prince Harry. It's Meghan Markle again. Meghan Markle equals that 268 number. Huh. I don't know. Christopher Columbus. I haven't been paying that much attention. What's the 268th day of the year? That would be... Well, 266 is 923, so... 925? Who knows? I'll have to look more into that. 268, though. Prince Philip equals 268. Meghan Markle, 268. Prince Harry, 268. Christopher Columbus, 268. Christopher Columbus died 200. Huh. I don't know. I just now started noticing this big pattern with it. Prince Philip also died. He was synced up to the horse symbolism, right? The word Philip means lover of horses. And he died in the year of the ox, and the ox and the horse are the greatest enemies. And it's funny because the story about Queen Elizabeth and her walking stick, at the very end of it, it goes on to tell us how she has a great passion of loving horses, right? So, and also, somebody pointed out to me, Wendy, she pointed out to all kinds of stuff, like William Shatner's wife is His last wife was named Elizabeth, and he also is a big lover of horses. So it's very interesting. Big lover of horses. Walking stick with capital letters equals 191, and Westminster equals 191. So many synchronicities, you know. The Dave Chappelle special, it released 42 days after his birthday, and the special's called The Closer. That equals 42 and 105, and it released on 10/5. And The Closer also equals 48, and he's currently 48 years old, right? Couldn't have been a more perfect day to release this on Netflix. You know, of course, the Super N-word's 42, and Rosa Parks is 42, which she rode the bus, and bus equals 42, and Rodney King's birthday is 42, and February equals 42, right? Black History Month at the 42nd day, and a million other things with 42 and black people, so. But the whole thing was about transgenders, right? And Netflix is 125, transgender 125. He's supposedly transphobic. Transphobic 125, just trans is 125. They also equal 53 here. And Dave Chappelle's 241. The 53rd Prime is 241. Think about I Will Survive being written by Gloria Gaynor, right? On her album called Love Tracks. And that album came out 53 days. You know, the album came out 42 years ago. It's 42 minutes in length. And the Dave Chappelle special released 53 days before the anniversary of this album with I Will Survive on it. So, no doubt that's why you had that song at the end. It's crazy I'd have synchronicity with it, though. Love Tracks. So many things going on. This Jeopardy guy, he lost on his 39th episode. Of course, his name equals 39. Remember James Holzhauer, the big guy before him, Jeopardy James. He lost on 6-3, and his name equals 63. And Ken Jennings lost 174 days before his birthday, and Ken Jennings is 174. Also 122, like how Jeopardy equals 122. This guy went to Yale University, and James Holzhauer equals 322, so that's why I'm saying I keep noticing this skull and bones thing. Ken Jennings lost on 11/30 on his 75th episode, and Mike Richards, the guy who got kicked out or whatever, he was born on 7/5 of the year 75, and the Mayim, however you say that lady's name, the girl from The Big Bang Theory who's now the host, her name equals 75. And Alex Trebek, I believe, became the host in 75 or something like that. Like 75 is just like, it seems like an important number to the Jeopardy thing that I don't understand too. So, but Jennings lost on his 75th episode, which just stands out to me with all this other stuff. You know, because he's been in the talks of being the actual host. And then you had the Mike Richards guy who was born on 7/5/75, and now we got Mayim Biolik or whatever, and her name equals 75. So just wanted to point out how, I mean, just so obvious, so easy things. It's like Matt Amodio, 39, loses on his 39th episode. We got the story about Bad Baby leading tributes to the death of the singer Amani 22, who died at the age of 22. Oh, the odds. Bad Baby, BB, right? P is the second letter, 22. Of course, the story came 165 days before Bad Baby's birthday, and I know from studying this that if you write out 22, it equals 165. Amani's 42, Bad Baby's 42. It's also a span of 201 days after Bad Baby's birthday. Excuse me. The Amani 22 died at the age of 22, and she got ran over by a car 79 days before her birthday, which is the 22nd prime number. And then, I don't know. There's something to it. Dr. Phil, right? Phil, lover of horses once again. Year of the Ox. Now her friend dies. Cash Me Outside. Talked about her a whole lot with the Illuminati symbolism and the number 86. And, once again, there's something important to that date. Next year, the Tiger Year, 22. Hmm. See, the Boston Red Sox were also important when the Indians changed their name to the Guardians. Because Trevor Bauer, I can't remember how he was synced, but I remember Snapchatting my friends that he was synced to the Red Sox. And when the Indians announced their name change, they lost to the Rays 5-10, and Boston equals 510, and Red Sox equal 510. Then they go on to play the Rays and or they go on to beat the Rays, actually. But think about the Rays in regards to Field of Dreams, right? The main character, Kevin Costner's character, his name is Ray. Boston even equals 169 like Field of Dreams. The Red Sox got their 86th win with a score of 8-6 on International Pirate Day. International Talk Like a Pirate Day, so. And they finished with 92 wins, which makes me think of Giants, but. I think I'll just leave it there. Like I said, I'm waiting to like really piece together why some of these things are like super important together. But it's just not coming to me. I don't know. I mean, I know it's related though. It's like just so stupid. Talk about William Shatner like way back when with Queen Elizabeth and all that, and then he goes to space. And we get this walking stick story, and hopefully I'll make a whole. I want to make another video, but I don't know. I'm not that motivated lately to make these videos. Sometimes I don't know why. I just get like this feeling to make it, But it's because I'm busy. I always have to go to work, and I don't have time a lot of times. And then when I do, I'm always like just tired. But Squid Game is like stupidly important. I had synchronicity with that as well. And how it syncs up to the Chinese pig year. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But have a good one. Peace. I hear my kid coming up here.